Today, I'm going to give you 8 years of digital marketing agency lessons. So just some context, I own an ad agency called Single Grain, and we've helped companies like Airbnb, Amazon, Uber, and more. Main thing is we've helped these companies acquire more customers and traffic. And a lot of people want to start agencies, and I get a lot of questions around it. So I thought I would make this video. And if you do stay till the end, there's a special takeaway there for you. Number one is it typically takes about 3 years to see success. And I've talked about this with Neil on the Marketing School podcast. He has his agency, MP Digital. I've been doing mine for a bit. I took my company over. The first 2 years were really a slog. And, to be frank, I kind of wanted to give up maybe in the first year and a half or so because I didn't know what I was doing. We're all just figuring things out, and we're figuring things out as we go. As long as you're consistent, as long as you're doing a good job for your customers and you're doing a good job for your team members, then you are good to go. It's usually about sticking it out longer, and then you continue to learn and you continue to grow over time. Number two is pricing is one of the biggest levers that you can pull, and yet most agency owners in the very early days, they are hesitant to increase their pricing. So I recommend reading a book called Pricing Creativity because it teaches you to price on value. And if you're able to do that, then you're able to charge more. And if you're able to charge more, then that gives you more margin to hire people and hopefully gives you more margin for your profits. Now, number three is not charging for strategy. If you think that your agency is good, then you should be charging for strategy because the thinking is actually what sets you apart. You have to think about who's doing the thinking because the thoughts then lead to actions, and then those actions will then kind of dictate what type of outcomes that you're going to get. By the way, if you're enjoying this so far, hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. It helps us grow. It helps the algorithm. And number four is on the topic of scope creep. So scope creep means when the customer keeps asking for more and more and more, and you keep saying yes, yes, yes. So if you want to prevent that, you would add in the $0 change order. And what that means is each time a customer asks for more stuff, you say, hey, no problem, let's do it. They ask again, hey, I'm looking for this, blah, blah. That's fine. I'm going to send you this $0 invoice, okay? The third time they come again, they're like, hey, can you just do this? And it's like, hey, look, I have this record where I sent you these two $0 change orders, but we're a business, so we have to charge, would that be okay? And then that diffuses any type of issues that might arise. And that way it kind of sets expectations. It sets boundaries around the relationship. Now, the other thing is you have to run your company on an operating system. So whether you want to use a traction operating system, you want to use scaling up. So when you run your business on an operating system, you have a cadence of weekly meetings. There's quarterly planning, and then there's an annual planning as well. That way it keeps everything moving. There's discipline that's built in. And then hopefully you can roll that out to your entire organization. That's what the goal of these traction meetings are. Next thing is you have to focus on a niche. A lot of people are like, we serve everybody. But the problem is when you serve everybody, you serve nobody because you don't know what you're really good at. And then when potential customers come up to you and they ask what you're good at, do you specialize in our industry, and you don't really have a good answer there, they actually don't want to work with you. In the early days, you focus on one, could be SaaS, could be e-commerce, could be crypto or whatever. From there, you can start to expand a little more. And I would say an agency, maybe you can do like 3 or 4 niches as you start to expand. There's nothing wrong with that. And you don't need to compare yourself to the largest agencies out there because comparison is the thief of joy. Now, the other thing too is when you start out focusing on one service, you think about it. When you go to a doctor, you go to the eye doctor for one thing, you go to the dentist for other thing, you go to leg doctor, you go to spine doctor. There's so many different doctors. They specialize in different areas. So focus on one service and then you can start to expand into others. I'm not saying don't expand into others. I'm just saying in the early days, especially when your resources are very constrained, you don't want to do that. Now, leave a comment below. Let me know what you think I missed so far. Let me know what type of agency that you have because I just like to hear from you. So next one is to under promise and over deliver. Don't promise the world in the beginning because then you set the expectation really high and it puts a lot of pressure on not only you, puts a lot of pressure on the team as well. Just make sure your offer is really good, the one that you under promise on, and just go above and beyond because people are going to remember that. And what ends up happening is that leads to word of mouth, and the word of mouth is going to continue to help you grow. Now, the last one is to become a media company. And Bill Gates said in the 90s that every company is going to become a media company. And the more you can do that, the better. If you look at Patrick Bet-David, he does insurance, but he largely just talks about reaction show. He does a podcast and all that. He's not talking about his business too much, right? The whole idea here is that instead of you having to push all the time, it's going to pull people into you, and then you can decide, who you want to serve that way, right? So that is it for today. Go to singlegrain.com if you want help with your marketing, or if you're looking for a marketing gig. We're always hiring. Just go to singlegrain.com/work. Don't forget to check out the next video over there, and we will catch you later.